Yes guys, what is happening? So we are back at Ultraflex Rotherham Gym and we're in for a pull session today. So quick update, we are 9 days into prep. No major changes so far. If anything, my body weight just does not want to drop. It keeps kind of coming down a little bit and then coming back up a little bit. So I think I'm only actually 0.6 kg down. So like, you know, pound and a half down since the start of prep, not really that much. Things are starting to kind of tighten up now a little bit already, but coming back on cycle and a couple other changes, I think that's why my body weight is just kind of holding or kind of recomping a little bit. But Two Bros have released the show day calendar this morning, I believe. So I actually picked my first show, which is now going to be on April 26th. So we're 18 and a half weeks out today. So I'm absolutely buzzing with that. It's actually a week before I originally thought that show was going to be on. So I don't know what the name of that show is yet, and I don't know where it's going to be, but that's the one I'm going to do, right? And that's going to be 3 weeks before Muscle Contest Ireland. So that is what we're ramping up for right now. So 18 and a half weeks out as of now, guys. So exciting times ahead. A little bit of a shorter time frame than I would have had last year, but I think it's good because I reckon I'm about 10, 15 pounds lighter than I was at this stage last year. So we're going to kick off the pull day, and we're going to start with some hanging leg raises. I actually often get asked what I do for my abs, and I don't train them nearly enough as much as I should, to be perfectly honest. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to abs, they're kind of genetic to a large degree. They're kind of like your calves or your forearms or something like that. So no matter how much you train them, they might get slightly better. They're not going to get a hell of a lot better. So you don't have to be in the gym doing 1,000 crunches to try and get good abs. You just actually have to lose body weight and have a good diet, right? If you want to see your abs. So there's nothing magical when it comes to ab exercises. If you want to do them, literally just do the ones you enjoy. So I like hanging leg raises. I like kneeling cable crunches because I can progressively overload them. And they generally tend to be my go-to ones. But don't look to do like an entire ab workout. You don't really need to do that. Just pick ones you connect well with that you can get a good stimulus from and just incorporate them in at the start or end of your sessions 2 to 3 times per week, and that'll cover all bases. Now, training your abs is going to be mainly for core stability, in my opinion, rather than building massive abs. So good way to get warmed up here before pull day, because there's going to be a lot of bracing that's going to be involved in a lot of these exercises that I'm going to be doing. So less yapping. I'm going to start off here now. Just one set, as many reps as possible. Don't know how many that's going to be today, Joe, seeing as I'm a little bit heavy, but these are going to get better and better as I lose the body weight. I'm going to get to the end of prep, I'm going to be doing like 20 of these, so. Could only do like 10 reps there. Still getting a little bit of tightness on my pec when I hang off the bar. So my first time doing those in like 2-3 weeks. And yeah, the pec is still a little bit iffy, but we won't talk about the pec much today, seeing as I spent the whole video talking about it last day. So today is a pull day. We've got better things to talk about. Right, first exercise, we're going to go with a single arm lat pull down.
Weight?
My weight is 108.95 this morning. So finally in the 108s. It's coming down slowly.
You wasn't really watery and fat, and we've already had that bit of body weight drop off anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I actually
that bit of pressure drop off. We don't then need to see a massive chunk. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually felt a little bit leaner now yesterday when I was posing. A little bit tighter, you know.
Yeah, once the creatine kicks in as well, things are hardening up as well.
Yeah, big time.
So,
yeah.
So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yep. Yes, sir. Right. So guys, you heard the man. Make sure you're taking your creatine. Most underrated supplement out there. Once that 10 grams of creatine kicks in, I'm going to take off. So guys, tip for you on lat pull downs, or just a general lat tip if you struggle to connect with your lats, is when you're getting set up, right, on any single arm variation, whether that be a pull down or a row, in order to like feel your lat a little bit, if you struggle with the connection, actually just grab the handle, right, and literally pull it the whole way down using both your hands to support it, and try and just play around with pulling your elbow into a certain position and wait until you can really feel that in under your armpit. Then from there, you know, right, this is where I'm going to feel my lat. Slowly bring the elbow away from there, and then literally just think about driving the elbow back down into that position, okay? So rather than just hopping on the machine, maybe straight off the bat and starting from up here and just pulling down, right? Find that position where the contraction is the best first. Lift that hand and then slowly come up from there, straight back into that contraction. That's actually helped me out massively. I got that tip from Jack Tauburn, so I'll credit him with that, or he'll be calling me out. Second set in, absolutely painful pump already. So if you're training your lats, guys, and you're not finishing up your set literally in serious pain, you're just not really training your lats properly. Okay, a lot of times if you come off and your forearms are blown up or you feel it in your biceps too much, there may be some issue with your execution. So honestly, don't go super heavy when it comes to training your lats. In my experience anyway, anytime I go too heavy, I just don't feel it in my lats enough, right? I get too much forearm, too much bicep, but when you choose the correct load, you should literally feel like your lats are going to blow up after getting off that piece of equipment. So fuck. All right, guys, so when it comes to training, back is arguably the most technical when it comes to form and execution. But if there's one major tip that I could give you when it comes to training your back, it's to make sure that you're pulling with your elbows, okay? Use your hands as hooks to hold onto the bar or the machine or the handle, and always pull with your elbows. Try not to follow through with your hands either and pull your hands towards your body. Always just think about pulling your elbows back hard, and you get much better back engagement. Right, guys, so what you'll notice in today's session is that my volume is a little bit higher. So for most of these back exercises, I've got 3 sets. Simple reason for that, I can just handle the volume, right? I can recover from that pretty well. And if anything, I feel like I can actually do a little bit more volume, but I think that could be getting greedy with it. So on my push days at the moment, I have 3 sets for some exercises, but even with that, I just find that I'm not really recovering like super well. But when it comes to pull, I can handle much more volume, recover much quicker, get stronger much quicker. So generally might be the case for a lot of people. They can handle a little bit extra volume on pull, but it's all going to come down to the individual. So we've got 3 sets here across the board today. 1 top set, 2 kind of back off sets. Depends on the exercise and what it is, but we'll run through that exercise to exercise anyway. Lovely stuff. So on my warm-ups here, guys, I'm not doing a ton of reps. I'm trying to conserve as much energy as I possibly can for my heavier top set. So when I warm up, initially I might do up to 8 reps, but after that, it's kind of like 2-3 reps as I start to add weight, just so that when I get to my top set, I have as much energy as I possibly can for that set. Whew. That's one exercise where, if you're not careful, it's very easy to follow through with the hands. So I really got to think elbows back there. And what you'll see from that last rep is that I actually tried to bring the weight the whole way back, but once I hit that sticking point in the middle where my elbows couldn't pull the weight back anymore, set over, set finished, right? I didn't come back, hit that sticking point and then go and pull forward with my hands and let my forearms do the work. I just let my back fail where it failed and I left the set there. So that's super important, guys. When you're training to failure, train to mechanical failure, okay? Don't let secondary muscle groups take over. You're trying to work your back here, so when your back can't move the weight anymore, set and finish. Probably jumped into that set a little bit too quickly there. Just the 1 rep up versus like 5 reps up the top set. But we'll ease the pace now a little bit. Right guys, pine pin loaded pull down up next. Let's swap this out for just a standard D-handle pull down on a normal cable stack. Reason being, I just prefer this at this stage of the session because I could do set in 5 and set in 3. Feeling like there's a little bit more even of a resistance profile, if that makes sense. Whereas when I was doing a normal D-handle pull down, it was just like a little bit too heavy at the end of the session. I feel like I get a lot out of this and I really like just how this machine moves. So 2 sets here, and I think it's the only exercise where I have 2 sets, back on the 3 sets on that. So yeah, we will get this done. Second upper back exercise, 1 more lat exercise, and we move on to biceps and rear delts.
Gotta be on your best behavior right now.
Gotta be on my best behavior right now. Make sure I don't say anything off the cuff like I did last video. Strictly to the book and to the plan today. Most annoying part about pull day, just fiddling around with the straps to try and get them on. Whoa. Come on. Come on. One more. Come on. Oh. See again here towards the end of that set. You could see as I was pulling down, almost on the last 2 or 3 reps there, I was getting a little bit lower. So I was getting here, and I was kind of a little bit higher, and that's just because my back was failing, right? I couldn't get the weight the whole way down again, so I'm trying to get it down as hard as I possibly can. But then eventually you're just going to get like that. Again, not following through with my hands, just trying to pull down my elbows as much as possible. And then once I get to the point where like, I'm kind of coming like 3/4 of the way down, done. There's no point doing half reps at that point. I've taken it the whole way there, so I'll just leave it, move on to the next set. So I think it's important with your training to know when to leave a set there, you know? Like not to take too much out of a set. I think there is such a thing as taking too much out of a set because ultimately if you have to break down your form and execution to get more reps, you're defeating the purpose of what you're trying to do, right? Especially if you're trying to train your back. So make sure you don't overdo it, guys. Stay locked in, stay super accurate. Pull with the elbow on the back. And once you can't do that anymore, just leave the set there. And then you'll be honest with yourself as to where your strength actually is and where your progression is actually at, rather than just chasing the logbook. I think back is probably the one muscle group where people let the logbook kind of get to them a little bit too much, right? They just kind of lose the run of themselves and chase load and chase load and chase load, because when you're pressing, if you don't have the strength to press the weight up off your chest, you're not going to be able to do that. But with back, right, you can use so much momentum, you can use so much body English, you can get your shoulder into play, you can get your forearms into play, and you can move the load, but it's not your back that's doing that. So how often do you see guys in the gym and they've got crazy developed, you know, it's usually the older dudes, right? Crazy developed chests and arms and shoulders and biceps, and then they turn around to the back and there's absolutely nothing there. There's a reason for that. Ego lifting. Not me though. My back is subpar.
Did you watch his last YouTube video or not? Doris.
Huh?
No, just
We're looking up.
No,
No, I wasn't.
It was all to the book. It was exactly how he was.
What was it? Go on.
Nothing. I was giving out about the cable ladder raises there, because I want the dumbbells in and you put those in, and then I was like, yeah, these feel wank. I was like, if these feel wank again, I'm just fucking doing dumbbells. So I was like, fuck that.
I'll show it to them properly.
Nice progressions there now as well. Happy with that. Strength is way up today, so good stuff.
Must have done a creatine loading phase.
Creatine loading phase, yeah. 20, 25 grams saturation front load for the first couple of days. Honestly, I think it could be the clean as well. Because anytime I add that in, I actually always do find like I've like more endurance in my sets, like I can push a little bit harder. So, just anecdotal for me, has always improved my strength to a certain degree. I don't necessarily know if it's strength. I feel like it's more so like, just like blood flow, because it improves your breathing and your cardiovascular system so much. So yeah, moral of the story, guys, don't stay natty, waste of time. Load up. Clean is basically natty anyway. So same thing again here, guys, as on the lat pull down. If on rows, single arm rows, you struggle to feel or connect with your lat, grab it with both hands first, pull your elbow back into the position, tuck it into the side, squeeze the elbow in, and you'll feel that lat contract. And then from there, literally just bring your elbow forward into the stretch, and then go straight back to that position. That is going to help you a lot when you're setting up for any lat exercises if you struggle to get that connection. So I see a lot of people shorten their range of motion on lat exercises. And I actually used to be one of these guys where I grab the bar and I try and just pull in and I stop about here. Same on a pull down, I'd kind of come down and I'd kind of stop in front of my body a little bit because I thought, that's just the range of motion in my lat. I want to isolate my lat, you know, as much as possible. But honestly, ever since I've just been driving back as hard as I possibly can, a little bit more, and even allowing the elbow to come a little bit back behind my body, I've gotten a better contraction out of my lat. And some people will say, oh, you're just going to train your rear delt when you do that. But in my opinion, if I can pull my elbow back a little bit more, and I get a little bit of rear delts, but I also feel my lat a little bit better, aren't I just going to grow my lats and my rear delts? I mean, it's a win-win in my eyes. So don't get hyper fixated over like isolating one muscle group completely. I think if they're very small muscle groups, like your biceps or something, obviously you need to focus on that a little bit more. But when it comes to big muscles like your lats, everything is going to work, right? And every way you move the weight to a certain degree, right, as long as you're pulling with your elbows, is going to work. So I don't like to limit the range of motion on my elbow on lat exercises at all. I like to pull really back hard, and even if it goes back a little bit further, I get a great contraction out of my lat there. So that's always what I'm going to do. Now, not to the point that I'm coming back and kind of up, right, and I'm shrugging my shoulder. I'm still pulling down to a certain degree, but it just feels fucking great, okay? So if it feels good for you personally, do it. If you feel better coming back here, maybe do it, but I think if you do that, you're leaving some gains on the table, in my opinion. Maybe a bit too aggressive of a load progression there. I added 15 kilos instead of 5 or 10, but we're feeling good today, so 8 reps. It's the rep range, it's just about acceptable. Even though my left arm is a little bit weaker than my right, or should I say my left side is a little bit weaker than my right. I'll often have clients say that to me as well. I think that's pretty normal. I think everybody has a weaker side. It's the same with your legs. One leg is going to be stronger or bigger than the other. One side, depending on which side is your dominant side or not, is going to be stronger than the other. It's actually pretty common and pretty normal, so don't read into it too much. Like, don't freak out about it, and don't go, what can I do to, balance out one side or the other? It'll just come up over time. I think the more you train, the more consistently you train, the more you're doing single arm exercises like this, the more it'll slowly over time start to even out. I think if you're a beginner in the gym and you first start out, you might find one side is really stronger than the other, but just train for long enough consistently for nothing. That won't be the case. Again, it's one of those small things that people sweat so much. And I'm like, why does it fucking matter? Like, nobody's going to come up to you and say, you look like your right side is stronger than your left side. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm actually 1 rep down there on my left side versus my right. So that generally tends to happen on single arm rows for me, and sometimes single arm pull downs, where as the session goes on, right side is always a little bit stronger than the left side. So best practice, I would normally start with the weaker side first and try and match the reps on the right side, but I was just going right left today, right left, so I just stuck with it, but it's all good. Joe is just trying to say "fucking" in an Irish accent there, but he actually did a decent enough impression, because I'm telling you, for somewhere that's so close to the UK, right, and Irish people can do very accurate English accents, but English people, for the life of them, cannot do Irish accents. You just can't. Doesn't matter whether it's Dublin, me, Tipperary, Cork, English people just cannot do an Irish accent. I find it hilarious. And I think we're so used to watching like British television and like British films and stuff that we can do English accents quite well, but it's very hard for people to take the piss out of us here. It's funny. And then I kind of get a little bit offended because the people try and like mimic my accent over here. When they talk back to me, they sound like a fucking gremlin, or like the Hunchback of Notre Dame or something, growling at me, and I'm like, do I really sound like that? I remember when I first met Meg, she told me I sounded very southern, as in like south of England, and like a farmer, like a culture basically, which I do because I am from a rural part of Ireland, but yeah, that was funny. Two reps up as well. Lovely. Pull is absolutely flying at the moment, which is good because obviously I'm limited to how I can train with push, and I'm limited to how I can train with legs because I have 2 fucking injuries. So the pull days are keeping my head in a good spot at the moment. So I'll just have a massive back and I'll be small everywhere else by the time I get to the end of prep. All right, guys, we are on to arms. Trying to get the arms as massive as possible because they are small as fuck. A body part that I hate training, always have, and I always will. And that was probably why they were shit for so long. They're a little bit better now, but trust me, every single session, when I get to the end of my session, I don't want to train arms. I don't want to, but I have to. And most importantly, I have to give it the same level of intensity that I give all my other back exercises. And I think the body parts that you don't like to train, that are weaker for you, oftentimes they're weaker for a reason, and that's because you're not giving them the same effort as the body parts that you actually enjoy training. So just make sure you apply the same intensity across the board with everything that you actually do, because if you have weaknesses, maybe your lack of enthusiasm for training that body part is why it's weak in the first place. Right, so even though I don't like training biceps, I do kind of like this exercise. It's my all-time favorite bicep exercise. Don't ask me why. Funnily enough, this is an exercise that I've seen that big guy in the gym do when I first started training, and it's one I used to do way back in the day for a very brief period, and then I just stopped doing it, but now I've reverted back to it. So I pretty much always have this in my pull days because I just find I get a lot from it. So getting the arm elevated up above the shoulder, right? Elbow in line with the shoulder, keeping it there, keeping the upper arm in position, and then forearm just moves on a swivel towards my forehead. Because my arm is like up here, I feel like I get a better contraction with the shortened head of my bicep. Whereas any sort of bicep curls that you're doing here, right, you get a lot of brachialis out of them, right? So you'll always feel them down around the elbow and stuff, and that's okay to a certain degree. You want to grow your brachialis too, right? But want to get good big peaks, then this is the exercise for you. You really feel that at the head of the bicep. I know that's a little bit bro sciencey, but honestly, you really do. So bicep peak, in my opinion, this is the one. Straight in here, right arm, left arm straight away. Not really wasting too much time in between these sets. Using this right arm here to brace, pulling myself in. Oh. Victory pose. One pose that kind of looks semi-alright to me, with these big long bicep inserts. I literally insert in my forearm, so I don't have much of a peak, but they're long. They look good in that pose, so not that that's a mandatory pose, but I'll hit that for one of my favourite classic shots, and that'd be the one. I'll be like Brian, the white Brian. The one part of my body, well, abs and rear delts. I think I'm genetically gifted in those departments, and that's about it. So, if you want rear delt tips, guys, I'm your guy. Ab tips I gave earlier. Tough shit. If you don't have abs, suck it up. That's terrible, isn't it? Train harder, eat better. So here, guys, super fucking lightweight, right? When it comes to rear delts, I see people go way too heavy. I like to just go really fucking lightweight here, really like smooth form almost, and just let my rear delts completely do the work. So reach my arms as far away from my body as possible here, protracting my shoulders, and then just literally think about my rear delts as I come back, right? Not bringing my elbows back behind my body. Again, reaching the arms as far away as possible, coming out, dragging my knuckles across the floor, and just keep rinsing and repeating that. Obviously a little bit of aggression there on the concentric as well. Don't want to pussyfoot around it, but these absolutely blow my rear delts up. So you may or may not have been able to notice there, but as I was performing those, I'm almost kind of thinking about leaning into the movement a little bit, not like leaning back, okay? Because again, I want to keep my shoulders protracted, and I'm almost trying to lean in so that as I come back, again, it's my rear delts that are doing all the work. Not leaning back a ton and coming back like this, and literally just retracting my scapula, letting my traps do the work. I'm trying to stay protracted forward, lean into it a little bit, and then just pull back. So in order for you to do that, to kind of lean forward and be able to bring your arms out to the side like that, the weight you're going to have to use needs to be super light. Like, look, my rear delts are a decent size. I'm using 15 pounds there. 15 pounds, a couple of kilos, you know? So like, that's heavy for me as well. I'll go on to 10 pounds now for my second set, and I'll just bang out 15, 20 reps of that. So that's personally what I feel works the best for my rear delts. If I go too heavy, I just don't feel it too much. On a reverse pec deck, I can go a little bit heavier, but on something like this, nah. Super light, super pumpy shit. And that is just what I feel is best. Get that pump in the rear delts, juicy. I always get caught in these cuffs. They're a little bit too tight for me. I actually rate these hard body cuffs though, do you know that? I actually think they're fucking good. They're the best cuffs I've ever used. Sorry, Josh Bridgman, but they're good. They're good. Sponsor me, please. Nah, I'm only joking. I'm not that desperate. Not yet. Nice sponsorship here or there would be grand though. A supplement sponsorship would be the one, wouldn't it? Just free supplements all the time. That'd be the only sponsorship that I actually want. Because I feel like you'd be tied in to so much posting with so many sponsors. Like if I had to fucking post about cuffs every single day, I'd be like, ah, fucking bore off, you know? But I've no problem just posting like, this is the best tasting way ever, you know?
Even if it's not.
Even if it's not, yeah. Nah, I think I'd be pretty brutal. I'd be pretty honest, I would. You know, I actually seen Joe Gann say that on his Instagram story the other day. He was like, you know me guys, I keep it real. And he was just basically saying he got a cherry bakewell flavoured cream of rice. And he said it's wank, he likes the maple syrup. I think cherry bakewell is an underrated flavour though. I rate that one. If you want something sweet, that is good. It tastes more strawberry than than cherry in my opinion, but that is good, but only when you're on prep. When you're off season, that's way too sickening. I'm not a massive like flavors guy when it comes to like wheys or cream of rices or anything like that. I think the longer I've been bodybuilding, the plainer I like my food. I think the longer anyone's been bodybuilding, the plainer they like their food. When you're eating so much food all the time, I think the plainer you can keep it, the better, because it's genuinely just easier to go down, in my opinion, to a certain extent. So when you're on prep, everything fucking tastes good. You don't need to have all the nice flavoured stuff, because cold rice and chicken with no seasoning tastes absolutely mint. Joe's nodding his head here behind me. Oh, 21 reps there on that one. And to be honest, I only really started feeling it when I got up to like rep 15. So that's something I very commonly say to my clients as well. On smaller isolation exercises, if you start doing the set and you think the weight feels too light, give it a chance, okay? Stick with it with good form and execution. Once you get up to 8, 9, 10 reps, then you'll start to feel the burn and start to feel the pump. But if you go too heavy, you're just gonna feel it at the start, but then when you get up to 6, 7, 8 reps, it's just gonna feel wank and you're just gonna be moving it around. And again, you're gonna be using momentum. You're not gonna be getting a pump in that really isolated muscle group that you're trying to work. So the smaller the muscle group, in my opinion, the higher the reps and the longer it's gonna take until you actually feel a pump in that area. So that's just something to keep in mind, guys. Some observation that I've kind of picked up in my own training over the years is that if you think you're going too light on a certain exercise, you're probably not. You just need to get the rep ranges up, get that pump, get that blood flow in the muscle, and then you'll get a lot out of it. So dual arm bicep curl, another exercise I don't mind too much. Slight difference here versus the last exercise that we did. This one, lengthened bias, okay? So we are trying to challenge that length and range. So here, I actually want the weight to kind of pull me back a little bit. I'm keeping my elbow back behind my body. I'm just dragging that weight up and kind of stopping about parallel to the ground. So it's going to hit more on my bicep down here, and the last one hit a little bit more up there. Science. That's as sciencey as it's going to get in this video. I actually love the science, and like I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to all those things, but I feel like I definitely got way too sucked into it. I think it was when I kind of started with Kuba as well, maybe just a little bit before that. Really sucked into the science, trying to make everything optimal, yada yada. And now I've just gone back to like, not basics, and I haven't gone pure meathead bro like a lot of people on Instagram kind of like fake play up to. You get me, Joe? Like a lot of people these days like, oh, I'm so hardcore, fuck the science, blah blah, when they don't actually train like that in the fucking first place, you know what I mean? They don't actually train that hardcore. They're just saying it to kind of like fit into the new trend that's like anti-science, you know what I mean? But I like to think I fall somewhere in the middle, and I take things from both camps, and I think everybody should. I think there's a lot of value in the more sciencey stuff, if you want to call it that or class it that, like some of the single arm movements that I've been doing here. But then there's a lot of merit in like more basic exercises as well. Just training hard, really. That's the main most important thing. I actually had a young lad message me on Instagram the other day, and he said something about bringing his legs up. I put up a post about how I grew my legs over the last off season, right? 1 year's leg progress, and I said that I stopped doing a top set and a back off set. Well, not that I stopped doing a top set and a back off set. I stopped doing a set of 8 to 10, a set of 12 to 15. Instead, I just kept everything above 12 reps. And I had this kid message me. He must have been like, not even 18, maybe even 17. And he was saying, should I do this as well to grow my legs? He was like, I'm doing upper lower at the moment. I'm doing a top set and a back off set. Should I do this? And I was like, mate, don't even worry about that. I was like looking at his physique, and I was like, no offense here, but like, you just need to grow everywhere. Like, you've only just started training. I'm like, it's good that you're doing upper lower, but like, mate, you don't need to change anything with your training to train your legs. You just need to actually spend more time training, because, you know, he looked like he'd only just stepped foot in the gym with a couple of months, right? He's probably like a year into training. So when you're a year into your training, guys, like, unless you've made fucking substantial gains, you don't need to think about the nitty gritty at all. You know, you don't need to think about your rep ranges that much. You don't need to think about your exercise selection that much. You don't need to think about anything that much. You just need to fucking train. And if you're that young as well, you just need to eat. When I was like 17, 18, 19, I could eat whatever the fuck I wanted, and I just grew everywhere. And I stayed so lean, right? I remember over the summer, Joe, in like 2000 and, fuck, this is gonna make you feel old now. Probably like 2012, 13, I used to eat like 2 taco chips a day. and I was still peeled asunder, drinking fucking cans of Devil's Bay, eating taco chips, training, going to the gym, ripped out my mind, like so lean. Like I don't know how I managed to do it, but it was because my body was just fucking growing so much because I was so young. 17, 18, 19, just fucking eat and train and just worry about like dieting later and your rep ranges and your training split and all that bollocks. Enjoy it, don't think about it too much. I think it's a bad day and age for people to just be starting getting into training because it's just information overload. It's fucking paralysis by analysis, and it's really sucked the fun out of bodybuilding. I think when things were a little bit more bro-like, it was so much more enjoyable because things were so fucking ridiculous. Some of the things people used to come out with, oh, try this works, this, or, you know, like some of the stuff has merit, but some of it was just a load of waffle. That was just the fun in going to the gym anyway, just trying different things and just seeing what felt good and just throwing weight around, you know what I mean, with all your mates. So people don't do that shit anymore. I feel like everyone's trying to like almost outsmart each other instead of out-train each other. Now, general approach, what I'll do with those is I'll do 2 heavier-ish sets. I still got above 12 reps on both of those. And then I'll do one a much lighter set at the end. And I always go like 15, 20 reps. I really like for biceps as well, higher rep work. So I do for a lot of my final sets like 15, 20 reppers. And I just find it feels great and just keeps everything feeling good. If I go too heavy at biceps, always my front delt just kicks in. So if I feel my shoulder working, I'm just like, nah, too heavy. Drop the ego back. Really don't care what I lift with my arms at all, to be honest. I see these guys like curling fucking 40 kilo dumbbells in the gym, and I just think, you fucking wanker. Like, what are you trying to achieve there? You know, I know there's some like old school videos of like Kevin Levroni and like Ronnie doing that, but like, different times, you know? Who are you trying to impress? Like, if I wanted that, I could probably just swing weights like that around, but I'm not going to solve that. When I step into the gym, right, I want everything that I do to actually work and have merit and actually be for something and be productive. I don't want to do anything that's going to injure me or cause fatigue or just like be a waste of like my productive time in the gym, if that makes sense. I try and get the most out of my sessions, especially like the way my sessions are set up in terms of like exercise sequence and order and all that, right? The goal is to get the most out of my back from start to finish and the most out of every single body part that I do at every single one of my sessions from start to finish. So I don't want to be throwing things in there that just serve no purpose or are for the ego or whatever, you know? Getting to that stage in the session now, last set, where I'm absolutely hanging for a toke of my vape. It's bad. Everybody who vapes knows that post-gym toke, oof, fucking hits different, don't it?
No.
Yes. Yes, it does. Oh. Whew. 20 reps. It's a wrap. How are my arms looking, Joe?
Lovely.
Did you get good angles for this video?
Yeah, of course.
Did you make them look as big as possible? Wide angle lens. Morph that out a little bit now on the edit. Good man. Right guys, that is a wrap on pull day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe and drop a comment down below as well, guys. None of you motherfuckers are commenting. I got a load of rage comments on my video going through my off-season review. A lot of people just going steroids down below, but it boosted the algorithm a ton. So if you watch this channel, guys, and you support me, please drop a comment down below, as that really gets the algorithm going more than anything. So we're going to be bringing a lot more content. Obviously, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break now for the Christmas, both myself and Joe. So we'll be back again in the new year, most likely with a leg day. Hopefully at that stage, my quad is going to be functioning at a decent level again, and I can actually go balls to the walls intensely. But yeah, 2025 is going to be epic, guys. We're 18 and a half weeks out now. So first show is going to be in April, a little bit sooner than I anticipated. But it's going to be a good year. I think in the new year as well, I'm going to have a couple of clients coming over here to train at me and stuff like that as well. So we might get Joe in for one of those sessions. But till then, guys, we're going to wrap this up here. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.